Welcome to Hello LMA. We're back at the LMA Conference 2017 at the Aria in Las Vegas, and I'm delighted to be joined by Jill. We're back. And we're back. Sorry about that, we had a little Wi-Fi connection problem. So Jill, you were telling us which firm you're at.
Yes, I'm the Chief Marketing and Business Development Officer for Stinson Leonard Street and 2017 LMA President.
And we are very glad to have you.
I'm
Thank you
delighted.
for your service.
Happy to be here. Yes.
So tell us about the conference. It's been a really exciting, fascinating conference, some great sessions.
Yes.
What's been most interesting for you to see in the sessions and the speakers?
So I think overall there are a few things. Number one is bringing the voice of the client, which I feel is so important. The General Counsel panel this morning was a perfect example of that, but we're also seeing it in the breakout sessions of both internal and external clients. I think a lot of great case studies have been shared by people in each of the breakout sessions. And then also that we've aligned the sessions with our body of knowledge, so it's really easy for an attendee to know which sessions to attend based on their areas of interest. And the way we have different levels of sessions, it could be an hour, it could be a deep dive, the Pechakucha, lots of different varieties, so it's not just a consistent one panel after another type of session. So.
Yes. And so what have you heard that's been new and interesting from any of the speakers? What's been your aha moment?
My aha moment honestly came at the General Counsel session this morning. And it was a phrase by Connie Brenton, and she said, we are dealing with constraint innovation. And she went on to describe that as an in-house legal operations, they have constraints. They might be told to reduce their legal budget by a certain amount. Then they have to be innovative. But she said it's not like innovation where you're just looking at it creatively of this, big picture. It is, I'm now constrained, so I have to be innovative about how to do it. And I think that's true for all of us in our roles, that legal marketing budgets don't always just go up, 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 or the number of staff we have don't go up, up, up. We really have to look at, given what we have and what the firm needs, can we be innovative within that framework? So,
necessity is the mother of industry, isn't that what they say? It's the same thing.
Exactly, yes.
But sometimes you have to be pushed to get that innovation moving, and maybe that's why we don't see as much innovation in the broader legal industry and law firms. You know, perhaps that's part of the issue.
Well, and one of the things Connie said too is that she sees less collaboration among administrative functions and our different organizations. That's something LMA is very passionate about, and we are focused on collaboration with other organizations like CLOC or ILTA or AALL, ALA. But she was noticing that CIOs and CFOs and marketing professionals aren't always communicating. So how do we break down those silos within our own firms, I think is another great takeaway for attendees. So.
And I loved yesterday, and we were sitting together at the Client Feedback 2.0, and Dave Bruns talked about the fact that when he does client interviews, he can often then be a great ombudsman for the client. So if something else comes up later on, they have another person to contact. And I think clients appreciate seeing that firms aren't working in silos.
Absolutely. In fact, Justin Ergler of GlaxoSmithKline spoke to the board on Sunday, and one of the things he said is, I expect to see your firm's business professionals at a pitch with our firm. I expect to see your firm's business professionals. And so that could be legal pricing, project management, it could be business development. But he said, I'm not a lawyer. I expect to see people who are not lawyers from your firm, because we're talking about the business and the fee structure and how to add value, and that goes beyond just the legal services that are being delivered. So I think that was very promising from my perspective for our industry.
Absolutely. And how have you seen the curriculum at the LMA Annual Conferences change? What I'm seeing is not such a pure focus on marketing, but more rounded skills, more business development, certainly technology. How have you seen that change over the years?
Yes. So what I've really noticed too is that technology piece. There was obviously there's a lot on artificial intelligence this year.
Big topic.
There was a presentation just before this that was talking about how you use data analytics to inform your business development efforts. So those are things that we hadn't seen before, where it might have been more of the traditional and more historical route to marketing. Now there's pricing pieces, there's technology pieces. Back to that point of collaboration. It takes a village to get all of that to happen.
Absolutely. So why should people keep coming back to the annual conference, and do you have any insight about what we can expect next year?
Yes, so very excited to be in New Orleans next year, and for anybody who happens to be watching this, definitely put it on your calendar. I think the key thing is the content, it continues to evolve. Obviously, things will evolve in the industry, and our goal is to be on the forefront of that. So, for example, artificial intelligence this year is one example. Also, from a networking perspective, again, one of the things the GC said, and I think it was also Connie Brent in this case, she said, they asked what was good about pitches, like what really stood out, and she said you have to be in person. You have to be. It is a relationship business, and that is true in legal marketing. So we have great content that we can deliver in SIG webinars and in regional programming, but one real value to the annual conference is it gives you this access to nearly 1,500 attendees from around the world, and you get that face-to-face. I mean, at the first timers reception, I met all of these new people that I hadn't met. Yesterday at lunch, I decided, why would I sit with people I know, even though I want to network with them? I just sat down at a table and met somebody from the Cayman Islands, and I met people from the Bay Area, and I hadn't met any of them before. And you find this piece of connection with everybody. I learned so much from those conversations, and there's just no substitute for that if you can't be here.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's sort of a ready-made network for you to join when you come to the industry. It's absolutely fantastic, and it's like nothing else.
You're right. And the other thing I would add too is I'm just thinking about the attendees networking. There's also the networking with the service providers. I spent a lot of time in the exhibit hall, and I met with each of the exhibitors, and I was asking them, and they said, we have people coming in who are so well informed about our products and everything. So they come in and they've said, oh, I've read about your product. Can you give me a demo on this? Can you, I'd like to learn more about how your software could assist, and this is what our firm's objective is. Or we might have a website redesign in a year and I'm not quite ready, but I want to gather information about, do I need content management and design services separately? They said they're very educated about what they're coming in for. And the exhibitors had great examples and ways to engage with the attendees. So that's another way of networking, because they can be so valuable. I mean, even service providers that I might not be hiring right at the moment, every time I call them, they'll say, oh, let me give you an idea, or let me send you a white paper, or let me help educate you. It's really an ongoing dialogue.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So what's been your favorite thing from the conference so far?
Wow, that's a hard question.
I'm here with the hard-hitting questions.
I know. You know what? I would go back to what I said in the opening session. It's really three things. It's the networking. I can't separate any one. It's that networking. It's getting the great education. And third, it's hearing about these cutting-edge solutions. All three of those I've just seen throughout these days. So it's been great.
Well, it's been fantastic, successful conference.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you. I'm very glad to be here. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. And welcome back to Hello LMA 2017, back at the Aria in Las Vegas, and I'm joined by Anne Heathcock. It's lovely to see you, Anne. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for asking me to speak with you.
Sure. So before we get down to brass tacks about your panel this conference, tell us a little bit about where you're from, your firm, and your role.
I'm with Winston & Strawn. I'm the Managing Director of Marketing, and I've been with the firm for 22 years. So I'm very excited to be at LMA this year. I haven't actually come to the conference in about 10 years, so this was actually really nice to see how the programming has evolved over that time, and to see lots of old friends and make some new friends. So it's been a very, very positive experience.
Great. And what have you noticed that's changed the most? If it's been 10 years, that's a good stretch between your last conference and this one. What have you noticed this year that's different?
Well, I would say it's definitely larger, and I would say that the variety of programming and the sort of number of different tracks, and you know, there's very customized things that people could attend, as well as kind of broad, more 30,000-foot view programming, which I think that's a really nice balance. So congratulations to the programming committee.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I was one of the rowers in that boat, but I have to say, being on the planning committee this year, I saw behind the curtain, so to speak, and so much work goes in. I mean, you know, the whole team do review all of the submissions, and we sort of work through that together, but so much more work goes on between Christy at ACI and then our co-chairs, Paul and Cynthia. So it's been an honor and a privilege being part of it. It really has.
Well, I think it was a great conference, so congratulations.
And we made some great decisions, so I know that you were speaking this time. Tell us about your panel session, Best in Breed Bios.
So my colleague and I, Mary Trice, who's our digital marketing manager, and I spoke about best in breed bios, and basically what we kind of outlined was our process. We're actually going through a bio redesign project, and sort of we looked at sort of the analytics behind what users are looking for when they come to an attorney biography, what's most important to them, basically that you have about 8 seconds or 150 characters to capture their attention.
That's it?
So yeah, it's a very, very short amount of time. So one of the things we did as part of our redesign process is we looked, we did it at an audit of both other law firms' bios to see what worked and what didn't work. We looked at our bios and listened to the feedback from our attorneys on what they thought was really important. And then we looked outside of industry. And so using all of those things, we kind of came up with our wish list. And then we verified it against analytics that we were able to find out from various different tools. And we talked to a bunch of our vendors to kind of find out what information was available publicly about how users interact with bios. And then we sort of came up with our vision for what the perfect bio would look like. And then from there on, it was a process of working with our creative agency, Carbon Smolin in New York, as well as our technology partner, Rubenstein Tech, to basically take that vision and translate it into something that was scalable, because we have 900 bios, so it had to be something.
That must have taken quite some time to get through.
Well, and yeah, to be fair, we're not there yet. So we've developed our vision. We've basically built out the design. We're building the back end technology, but we're actually in the onerous process of actually auditing 900 bios to make them more relevant, make sure that we're following all the ABA rules of professional responsibility, that we're actually selling our attorneys in a way, again, that we know users are going to interact with that content, making sure, I think the most important things I would say are, and we communicated this in our presentation, is that, again, when you only have 8 seconds and 150 characters to capture someone's attention, you really do need to front load the most important information. So, as I said, I'm like, don't bury the lead. Get it up on the top. The 2, 3, 4 most important things that you want a user to take away from that bio. You really need to communicate that up front. The other thing is, people want to work with people that they like. So I think it's very important the use of, photography that shows personality, the use of larger images, because, again, the larger the image, again, I think the more personable the photograph comes across as.
No gavels then?
No. No, not really. So yes, that was I think kind of some of the key takeaways from our program. And,
that's fantastic. And I popped my head in to that one, and by pop my head in I mean that's all I could fit in the room because it was absolutely packed. Every seat was taken. It was standing room only. And people can buy the videos of the sessions, so do certainly check out Best in Breed Bios because it was very popular. I heard great things about it.
Well, thank you.
Yes. So what has been your aha moment from the conference, aside from your panel? What else have you learned?
Well, there's obviously a number of things that I feel like I can take away from this conference, but probably the easiest one to talk about, and the one that's I probably will tell other people, is the whole idea of a gator brain.
Right.
But not only that, kind of understanding, in communication, like the easier you make it for someone to understand something, to scan something, the more likely they're going to do what you want them to do.
Yes.
And I think that's really an important point. And then even just in my interactions with my partners, kind of understanding that maybe if I feed them, they'll be more likely to go along with what I want. So I thought I was like, that's a keeper. I'm like just going to bring cookies with wherever I go. Like, have a cookie and then decide whether or not you want to do this project that I'm proposing.
A friend of mine uses bacon, so whenever she's meeting with the partners, it's always a breakfast meeting, and she'll get plenty of bacon.
She doesn't just carry around bacon, because packs of dogs would be following her too, which might be a little dangerous depending on what city she's in. But.
Well, no, it tends to be in a boardroom bacon. Okay. Bacon in a boardroom.
Which even sounds worse, actually. The bacon boardroom.
I say that as keynote for next year's conference in New Orleans.
How to use bacon to achieve all your goals.
LMA 2018.
I like it.
Bacon, yeah.
I'm in.
All right.
I'm in.
So will you be coming to next year's conference?
I think so.
Great.
I think so. This was a very, very positive experience. I'm not going to let another 10 years go by before I come back. So.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome.
And safe travels back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back to Hello LMA at the 2017 conference, and I'm joined by Esther from the LMA conference.
Yes.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for all your work in this event.
Thank you. No, I should be saying that to
No.
you.
We did it together.
We did it together. So Esther, tell us a little about your role for the conference.
I am the Director of Business Development for the event, so I'm in charge of the exhibit hall right behind us and kind of the overall sponsorships and how they tie into the event itself. This is my
That's a big role.
It's a lot. I love it.
And yet you keep coming back.
I do.
You're not a quitter.
No. It's very fulfilling. I have learned so much over the 8 years about the vendor community and about the service providers and how they've evolved, how this event has evolved with them, what their objectives are, why they keep coming back. And so, it's fantastic work.
Great.
It's all year. It really is. I'm going to go home and it's going to be, hello.
Do you get 1 week where you just don't talk to anybody
No.
and then it's back on for next year's conference?
No, never.
Always on.
Never. We're switching the website, I believe, if not next week. So yes,
Wow.
we are already on the train to 2018 in New Orleans.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
All right, so talking about the vendors in the exhibit hall,
Yep.
what do they get out of the conference? You know, what are their objectives? What are they looking for?
Most of what I like to focus them on is this is not a what we would call a lead generating show.
Yeah.
This is about networking and putting a brand out. Brand recognition and making sure that they're getting their message out consistently. This is the only event on market that captures as many legal marketers in the industry in one place.
Yeah.
So just from a perspective of volume, there's a lot of opportunity here. The education that I do is really around how to approach the market, how to sell into the market, what to avoid, and what works. So you see a lot of fun things on the floor, very engaging.
I saw a lot of fun things last night.
We had some zombies, yes.
And a robot.
And a robot.
I interviewed the robot live.
You did?
Slip the robot,
Very nice. Yes, Greenfield Belzer did that. So they always have a fantastic booth. And a lot goes into it, and goes into it from the service providers. This is a lot of work. But I think they come back, and most of them do, and they return year in, year out, because it is a unique opportunity, and it is run unlike other events. So we really engage throughout the whole year and try to ensure that, sounds silly, meet their objectives, but that they are, getting value.
Yes.
And how they measure their value is obviously independent from me and to each company.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So what should we be looking forward to for next year's conference?
Lots of floats.
Lots of floats? No. I wasn't sure if you meant pool floats or one of those
floats,
parades that goes through the
floats.
city. Okay.
I think we're going to see a high level of engagement. It's the first time the event is in New Orleans. I think
that's going to be a big draw,
yes,
right? It's such
huge
a great
draw.
place.
There's a lot of buzz around it already.
Yeah.
I think that we're going to see what worked through the surveys, what we need to change, what we need to adjust. We try to make adjustments every year based on the feedback we get from attendees. That is going out. There's a survey that's going out after the event, and that from the app that we've been kind of watching.
Yeah.
I think
I saw already this year. Sorry to interrupt you,
No.
but I know. Being on the planning committee, some of the feedback was people wanted more fruit for breakfast,
Yes.
and I saw that happen this year. So you read the surveys, read the feedback.
Yes, and there's always the call for more coffee, 100%.
Yes, definitely.
Water, essentials in life. So they are not ignored whatsoever.
Oxygen.
Oxygen is always good. They're not ignored, and I think it's our job to ensure that we can meet. There's a lot of constituents on this event. There's a lot of stakeholders on this event. Obviously, we have a committee, we have a board, we have the community of supporters that exhibit and sponsor, and everybody's needs need to be met. So sometimes they don't always overlap, but that's what we do. We try to address these issues or concerns early on and figure out a way to make sure that everyone's happy.
Well,
if that's
I'm
possible.
happy, so thank you so much.
You.
This has been the best yet, and no doubt next year will be even better as well.
Thank you very much. It is a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now we smell.
Okay.
I was born ready. And welcome back to Hello LMA at the 2017 Annual Conference. I am still Lizzy, and I'm joined by Adam. And for anyone who doesn't know, and how could they not possibly know who you are, tell us which firm you're from and your role, Adam.
I work for Allen Mackins. I'm the Chief Marketing and Client Services Officer over there. We're about a 200-person law firm based out of California, and we focus largely on the real estate industry. And being in mostly one industry and that size firm, it allows us to do a lot of fun stuff. So what I always find so interesting is there's so many different size firms here that have different things, and you feel like you realize what your advantages and what your disadvantages are, but you get lots of great ideas.
Sure. So what are some of your takeaways from this year's conference?
Well, I think the thing that impresses me right now, that impresses me about this conference is I have truly enjoyed the new mix of people that we've seen here, that what's happening in our industry, we're getting very data-driven.
Yeah.
We have to pull together information, and I went to several sessions where not only were they fascinating topics on how people were integrating their data or how they were doing Moneyball, but that the different people that there were, I heard from knowledge management officers, there were some IT people here, there were very interesting integrators, I heard from a data scientist, that these were just new insights. This wasn't the same old, and that there are new faces and new insights and things that can really drive our business and can give us insights that frankly we couldn't get before.
Exactly, and we shouldn't be in silos. You know, we always talk about busting those silos, and I agree. I think we're seeing such a rounded skill set, not just the pure marketing, but the BD, and data has played a big role this year. And I know you're heavily involved with the LMA Tech Conference. Are we going to see more data there as well?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, usually I come to these conferences and I'm looking for sponsors, but here I've spoken to more speakers saying, please come to Chicago, please come to San Francisco, we need more of that. And what's so interesting about it is they're from all sides. They're from the consultants who help you do it. It's from chief knowledge officers. It's from the clients. If you listen to it, we had the client panel, and you had Connie Brenton up there and all those other legal operations folks, and they talked about how they want to share data. So it's really coming at us from all sides, and it's a really exciting time to be in the industry.
It is, it is. What would you say for, I know we're wrapping up the conference this year, but for next year, those who haven't been to an LMA annual conference before, why should they come? Why should they join us?
Oh, wow. Well, if you've never been before, there are so many reasons, but I'll give you 2 or 3.
Great.
So if you're a beginner, it used to be called Boot Camp, now it's called Quick Start. I actually spoke at the Quick Start. This is something from the first time I came to LMA, even though I was a more seasoned marketer, I wandered into it and it floored me. That LMA is really, it's both LMA and the community. They pick all these different experts in different areas. I worked on technology because that's what I know, but there were other experts, and they speak to the people who are new to the industry, and we're all about making you a success. So if you're a beginner, you come. No matter what, you come for the networking. The people here are so amazing and dynamic. You hear it over and over again. We are in an industry where we are change agents, okay? And when you're a change agent, you're saying one thing, and a lot of people in your firm are saying another, and you need the support of other folks. You get great ideas. And to be able to network with people who solve the same problems that you have in different ways, you learn so much.
And you're not alone, right?
Right, you're not alone, but you learn so much. And then third, and it was just what I said was the content. And you know, depending upon when we are, the content's better or worse, but the content's better than ever as far as I'm concerned. I think there's so many new topics that are relevant to us, and you just can't possibly read all the books. So those are 3 great reasons to come.
Great. Well, those are 3 excellent reasons, and especially the networking. I know I hear time and time again that some of the people, when someone comes to LMA for the first time, the people they meet often become their lifelong friends. And it's such a great chance to meet up with everybody again, who you might not see again for the next 12 months, but who you share ideas with and experiences and can learn from.
And well, the people are great, and you know, it takes a certain skill set to be a legal marketer. You've got to be resilient. You're working in a certain environment, and you have a density of, I think, really amazing people in one place that you rarely see.
Yes. So we have a question we've been asking everybody, and this comes from Jill, our president, Jill Weber. What is your aha moment from the conference?
What was my aha moment? My aha moment was, there are probably a couple of them, but probably is how important the core data is. That basically you can talk about all of these big things, but the fundamentals of remembering what your role is in business development, and then understanding what the fundamentals and what the data is, and getting that in one place. That if you just spend, even if you can't afford the big consultants, if you just get your data in order and start to track stuff, none of that will be wasted.
Yes.
And then when you pull that together, the bucket at the end of the rainbow, it could be pretty fulfilling and pretty great.
That's a great point. Thank you so much, and thanks for joining us and for being a great speaker as always. And I look forward to seeing you at the next one.
Am I the last?
You're the last Hello LMA of the day.
So long, LMA. I guess we can say that finally.